was moving over the water. Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving.
So y'all are going to have to bear with me. I'm a little shy, so I'm going to take a minute to break out of my shell.
You are your father's daughter. You come up.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to start where I remember everything started happening. It was about when I was 4. My parents had split up, and I started living with my mom. And I got to see my dad like every weekend, every other weekend. At first, everything was great, but then it wasn't. And he was on drugs, and I had to adjust to the woman that he was with at the time, once my parents had split up. Things started going downhill, and the days with him become shorter, and the time that I was with him turned into us going to his friend's house and being around houses I didn't know. It finally got to the point to where on the days that I was supposed to see him, I would wait up by the door, and then my mom would get a text saying that he wasn't coming or he just wouldn't show up. So once I got a little older, I started to realize and understand what was going on. At this time, we was barely talking, but I would still worry about him and hope that he would be able to get clean like he kept telling me he would. I always wondered what I did or why it felt like he did not love me. I didn't feel worthy of love. My mom never told me she loved me either, so it was like I didn't feel loved at all. So every time that I would get in a relationship, it would immediately ruin it, because it was so hard for me to trust that if my own parents couldn't love me, how could anyone else either? So my mom started dating people after they had split, and she ended up marrying this man. He was not a good guy at all. He would drink, and he would become very abusive, to where it started with just words, and then it turned into physical. So we had to walk on eggshells around him, because if we didn't, he would end up breaking something or hitting her. And then he ended up going to prison, and they ended up splitting up. And then she would get with someone else, and it was like a repeating cycle. It felt like she was giving all of her attention to the men that she was with, and I wish that she could have just settled down a little bit to have time for me, and we could have healed together from that, everything that had happened. So we're going to fast forward to my 8th grade year, about mid-year. I received a call one morning that my Mimi had passed away, that she was in the hospital, and I didn't get to say goodbye to her, which is the first person I ever really lost, and that hurt. So that took a big toll on my mental health, and a few months later I ended up going to high school, and I started dating this guy. And the guy that I was dating, he was a senior at the time, and I was only a freshman, and his ex was super jealous that we was together. So it got to the point that she started bullying me. It became an everyday thing. She would either knock into me, say mean words, talk about my appearance. It got so bad that she started telling people that the world would be a much better place without me, that I should just go ahead and end my life already, because what was the point of, all because of a guy. So after months of hearing these things, I started to believe everything that she was saying, because again, if my parents didn't love me, someone's telling me this, I believed that maybe that was the best option for me. So that led into me self-harming and trying to take my life. And I wanted something to ease the pain, so to be able to feel something. So one of the girls that was in the group with the girl that was bullying me, she went and told my school counselor about what had been going on. And me and my counselor talked, and I'm still very thankful for her to this day, because the day that she talked to me was on a Friday. and I had already planned how I was going to take my life that weekend. So she had told me that she wanted to see me that following Monday, and that I better be there. And if you're at your lowest, you understand that no matter what someone tells you, you're just going to laugh about it and say, yeah. So over that weekend, I was sitting on my bathroom floor and about to go through with my plan, and I had a thought come to me. And let me back up a little bit. I'd been in church all my life, off and on, with going with my dad and my grandpa when I was 7. So I did know God, and I had that thought come to me on my floor: do I really want to go to hell? And I think that's really what stopped me from yes. So then fast forward to my junior year. Me and the guy that I was with at the time had already split up, and I had met this guy online. He had lived at a homeless shelter at the time, and he was not in a good state. So I'm not sure if any of y'all know me pretty well. I love to help people. So after only a few weeks of knowing him, I begged my mom into letting him move in with us, just to get him out of the living situation that he was in. We was together for about 3 years. At first, everything was great, and then about a year and a half in, he started becoming emotionally abusive, very manipulative. I was working and paying for everything, which was fine until he could get on his feet. I didn't mind helping him out. But it seemed like everything that came out of his mouth was him calling me names. So eventually I was at work one night, and his phone was I was at work, and when I come home, his phone was blown up. So I checked his phone to make sure that everything was okay, and I see a brand new Snapchat, one I'd never seen before, with a bunch of females blowing his phone up. And it took a little time. It hurt pretty bad. So I decided that I did not deserve that anymore. He wasn't doing nothing for me, so I decided to leave. And after that, I had to break a trauma bond. Not sure if y'all know much about trauma bonds, but them are very hard to deal with. So he was constantly blowing up my phone while I was at work and just trying to stay connected with me, and I was trying not to feed into that because I knew that I needed better for myself. So during that time, trying to ignore him, wanting to give in, I started drinking all the time and smoking weed, so it became almost an everyday thing, and I just wasn't happy anymore, and I knew that I deserved better. So then, about 7 or 8 months later, I ended up getting pregnant with my little girl, and once I got pregnant with her, I stopped the drinking, I stopped the smoking, and I truly believe that she was sent to me for me to turn my life around. If y'all have kids, you understand. So after having her, I developed severe postpartum anxiety. I was in and out of the hospital for a week or 2 straight, thinking that I was having a heart attack because my chest was hurting so bad. And one Wednesday in September, I thought that I was having a bad panic attack, so I ended up leaving work. And it happened, sorry, I already said it was a Wednesday, I'm losing my track.
It's okay.
I ended up texting my dad to see what time church started that night, and I ended up coming to church. And then I ended up finding out that the pain that I had was actually from my gallbladder. And with me going to the doctor regularly, we found out that my blood pressure is staying high and my heart rate as well. So I ended up seeing a cardiologist, and this went on for a few months of me going to the doctor, and then I'd seen a cardiologist. And he ended up clearing me that everything was good with me, and yes, everything looked better. I do feel like I'm in the middle of my testimony right now. I feel like God is still writing my testimony, so I'm excited to see what is to come and what He still has in store for me. That's all I have, but I do have a little note that I want to add to it, that when I was writing this, that God had gave me. So as I was writing it, I'd kind of sit back and like just read everything that I wrote, and it really made me realize how thankful I am for my battle scars, as I call them, because I can look back and see that even at my lowest time, when I didn't think anyone loved me, and when I didn't feel like I was going to make it, that God gave me a thought and gave me that word that pulled me out of what could have went a lot worse and been a lot worse. So I just want everyone to know. He also restored mine and my dad's relationship. That's in the making as well. I just feel like God is really moving this year. I gave my testimony for the ladies' meeting last month, and I've been hearing about a lot of suicides. Someone the night before last had took their own life as well. So I really do feel like God He's wanting me to share my testimony to help someone else out. So even if you're at your lowest, you can always turn to Him. That's really what He's saying.
I found you